Frank Beck Chevrolet Studio Annex. This is Timeout Overtime on the Timeout Overtime YouTube channel. I am your host, Rick Arsenal. First things first, if you haven't done so yet, get down there in the corner, please. Smash that like and subscribe button. Thanks to you folks, we now have over 3 dozen subscribers, and don't think I don't appreciate that. I really do. And tell your friends about this. Uh, we try to keep you informed 3 times a week, and we enjoy doing it too. So, anyway, I wanted to wait to do this show today until the Lions were done with their post-game show on the Lions radio network. That just finished up, and a couple of things Dan Campbell said that I found interesting, and then. I think we'll talk about the Tigers first tonight, get that out of the way, and then review what transpired today at Ford Field. So here we go. Timeout Overtime is sponsored in part by Frank Beck Chevrolet on M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville. If it's time for a new-to-you vehicle, let the sales professionals at Beck's help you choose the right vehicle. New, whether it's new or pre-owned, Beck's has a top selection in the tri-state area, with over 200 vehicles in stock. Stop by and see for yourself. And when you're ready, ask for Russ McMorty, Chris Hodis, Danny Smith, Adam Schaefer, Blake Bryant, Cameron Mincio, Bob Flynn, or Peyton Lucas. And when it comes time to service that new-to-you vehicle, the service pros at Beck's can fix it. Any make, any model, Ford or domestic, Beck's can fix it. And if you have a bit of a crunch or fender bender, Beck's Body Shop can put it back together just as good as new. So for all your automotive needs, look no further than Frank Beck Chevrolet at M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville at 517-849-2886 or on the web at frankbeckchevy.com. Come and experience the Frank Beck difference. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. As I reach for a slug of water here before we go any further. Hang on just a second. As you may or may not have noticed, I had to turn the AC on here because it's getting hot again. How about that? In fact, the week ahead looks hot with humidity to match. Pardon me, I'm saying 90 degrees again for a few days. It looks like a pretty solid week of heat and humidity. Here I'm giving you a weather forecast. You might be back out of this by Friday. Much cooler next week. Let's hope this is kind of the end of it. You know, I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty sick of the heat and humidity. I'm ready for fall. I'm ready to see the leaves turn colors and start falling. Footballs are in the air. Speaking of that, by the way, before we go any further, I will be telling you in just a few minutes about a very special event, which will be transpiring at Frank Beck Chevrolet in 3 weeks, Saturday, September the 14th. I misspoke this morning on the show with Andy. I said 2 weeks. I should have looked at the calendar when I said that. It's actually 3 weeks from today, Saturday, September the 14th. It'll be Frank Beck's 9th annual salute to our area's first responders, and I will be elaborating on that in just a few minutes. College football season started today with a game in Dublin, Ireland between, well, they were 10th ranked Florida State Seminoles and Georgia Tech. Florida State was favored by 10, and Georgia Tech won 24-21. So we start the season with a relatively huge upset because I had Florida State winning the ACC, and I had them as a top 4 team in the playoffs, which meant they would have got a first-round bye. Obviously, that's not going to happen. I was watching the Lion game, so I didn't see that. I was monitoring the score. The game was close throughout, and obviously Georgia kicked the field goal near the end to win 24-21. This is a devastating loss for Florida State, folks. Big upset. anytime you're a double-digit favorite and you come out of a losing end. So for all of you who took Florida State and gave 10 or 11 and a half points, well, whatever the line was when you placed a bet, you've got my condolences. Eddie and I were talking too this morning. Anyone who bets on NFL preseason games has an issue, and they should seek professional help. It's sad, and by the way, these preseason games, folks, are becoming more and more of a farce. And it wouldn't surprise me, maybe as early as next year, the league will go to 18 regular season games, and we'll just have 2 preseason games, and that's it. In fact, pardon me, I would go so far as to say within the next 10 years, you might see 20 regular season games and no preseason at all. That's what it could come to. But because a great fan base, maybe I don't know. I'm sure if you're a season ticket holder, you've got to pay for preseason games as well. That's probably one reason why they had a packed house to start the game at Ford Field. Stands looked half empty by the end of the game, but big upset in college football. Final score today, folks: Georgia Tech 24, Florida State 21. So much for my prediction of the Seminoles winning the ACC. That's not going to happen. Oh, no. All right. Boy, pardon me. Tickling in the throat here. Hang on just a second. Okay. Saturday, September the 14th, Frank Beck Chevrolet will be celebrating their 9th annual salute to first responders. This year will be a very special tribute to the Hillsdale County Sheriff's Department for all the right reasons. Bring the kids, let them get up close to emergency vehicles, meet police and firefighters, play games, and more. There will be a free lunch. You can sign up for prizes as we celebrate our area's first responders. Plus, there will be a poker run as well. That's on Saturday, September the 14th from 10 to 2 at Frank Beck Chevrolet and M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville. I think you get more info on the web at frankbeckchevy.com. Stop by that day and experience the Frank Beck difference. I'll be out there with the timeout crew. We'll be doing a show from there on Saturday morning. I expect you folks to all stop by and say hi. Nice to see all you loyal fans and listeners, and you'll have a great time. Bring the kids. It'll be a great, fun-filled day for the whole family. As I said, we were out there last year, and we had a lot of fun. It was just a fun day. Let's hope it's a good day weather-wise, but we really enjoyed it, and I'm sure as we will again this year. So I'll see you out there. We'll see you out there. Saturday, September the 14th. Make a big circle on your calendar. Put it in your phone. You better be there. We'll see you out there. Yeah. Okay. We'll keep reminding you too. Well, we mentioned it on the show this morning, but I misspoke. I said this morning it was 2 weeks from today. It's actually 3 weeks from today. Kind of got ahead of myself a little bit, but okay. All right. Tigers won last night 5-2. Kyler Montero was okay. Tigers jumped out to a quick 2-0 lead. Really didn't do a whole lot after that until later in the game. 2-2 in the 7th inning. They scored 2 in the 7th, I believe, and 1 of the 9th to win 5-2. Kyler Montero was okay for 5 innings. Tigers, as we speak, are 63 and 66. If Skubal can win his 15th tonight, They'll be 2 games under with 2 games left in Chicago. Hey, look, I don't care how bad any team is. It's very Mickey. Come on in here. I knew I was forgetting something. Get in here. Yeah. I don't care how bad a team is. It's difficult to sweep a 4-game series from anybody. And not only that, after school pitches tonight, what have Tigers got? A couple of more bullpen games. Reese Olson is throwing off the mound. He's close to coming back, as is Casey Mize. Casey Mize is on a rehab assignment. Start right now in Toledo. You get these 2 guys back within the next week or so. They come home for a 3-game series with the Angels and 3 more with the Red Sox before heading out west to play San Diego and Seattle. Maybe if they have Olson and Mize before they go on that road trip, they'd be in a lot better shape. I think they would have a chance if they could get a couple of starting pitchers back of having a winning record. You win the next 3 games in in Chicago. You come home 66 up and 66 down. You got 30 games left. Go 16-14 in those last 30, and you win the season with a winning record. I think that'd be a big figure in the cap for the Tigers. And by the way, have you looked at the American League Central? That has turned into a 3-team race with 2 games separating Cleveland, Minnesota, and Kansas City. It's anybody's ball game right now. So, Tigers have 3 games left with the Royals next month in Kansas City. That's a 6-game trip. They go to Kansas City and Baltimore. Is that all we're going to say about the Tigers? Skubal going tonight? I think so. No, I think that's it. We'll probably get into the Lions here. Put in a good word for a good man, as you've heard me talk before. Without his patience and assistance and his kindness, I wouldn't be doing this right now. That would be Tim Lindley at Quality PC in downtown Hillsdale at 37 Waldron Street. It's a couple hundred feet west of Howell. All your technical needs and service. This is the man in our area that you want to see. Tim Lindley. Anything, computers, new or used. Maybe your computer now needs a little tweaking done on it. Flat screen, smart TV, mounting and programming. Maybe you're changing internet providers and you need that set up for you. Printers, new or used, anything. Get in there and see Tim at 37 Walden Street in downtown Hillsdale, 517-610-5372. Or better still, get in there and see him. And when you do, tell him me and Mickey sent you, will you? Thank you. The Lion game today did not start out well. But as Andy and I were talking this morning, well, what did Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Steelers, by the way, before I forget too, before we get into the Lions, I mentioned the Tigers had a trip out west. I think I said they were going to Seattle. They've already been there. They're going to San Diego and Oakland as they bid a fond farewell to the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum and all its great amenities out there. I'm thinking the next 3 years they'll be known as the Sacramento A's because they'll be playing in a minor league ballpark in Sacramento. Okay, that's it for baseball. But the Lions today, as I said, I wanted to wait until the Lion postgame show was over before coming on. I want to hear Dan Campbell's comments. I wrote some of this down, but first of all, Jake Bates missed a 30-yard field goal attempt. In other words, he was kicking from the 20-yard line. He hooked it. Extra points are 33 yards. He missed one of those last week when he sliced it. Today, he hooked it. If I were the Lions, I would be looking to bring in a new kicker. But I'm not going to quote what Dan Campbell said on his postgame interview with TJ Lang, but the Lions still have faith in this guy. It sounds like he's still their man. in spite of missing that 30-yarder today. Look, there's too much on the line for this season to have Jake Bates miss an extra point or short field goal being the difference between winning and losing a game. Wow. Anyway, I said I'm not going to quote verbatim what he said, but according to what he told TJ Lang, I don't think Jake Bates has anything to worry about. He's their kicker. No. We'll see how it works out. To me, it's very disconcerting. As I texted the guys while we were watching the game, if you can't make a 30-yard field goal, I'm sorry, Jake, I've got no use for you. There's no excuse for doing that. I'm not a kicker. But I'm assuming it's kind of the same premise as hitting a golf ball off a tee. You've got to look at what you're kicking. No. And if you're hooking and slicing kicks, you're not quite, I think you're not quite focused on what you're doing. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a kicker, but to me, this is very disconcerting. That's issue number one. As to who stood out today, the Lions did have 5 sacks. I thought, to me, I've got some stats here that I wrote down. Hang on, I've got them here. The Lions had a total of 87 yards rushing today, and of course, Hendon Hooker had 93 of those yards. Jake Fromm was 7 out of 8 for 87 yards. He had a QB quarterback rating of 111, was very good. The Lions were 10 out of 20 on third downs. That's pretty good. Jamar Jefferson, 9 carries for 29 yards and 2 touchdowns. I understand. I realize, by the way, I guess I didn't say the Lions won today, 24-17 after getting behind 14-0, but I understand Jake Fromm was probably in there in the fourth quarter playing against third, fourth, maybe fifth string guys. Okay. The Lions by 4:00 Tuesday have to go from 90 players to 53 players. This is probably the toughest time of the year for Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. That's all they're going to be doing the next 72 hours. They're not going to be getting much sleep. They're going to be breaking down a film of this game, and they've got a lot of decisions to make. I thought Jamar Jefferson, the pride of Oregon State, who was a 7th-round pick in Brad Holmes' first draft 3 years ago, he spent most of his time between now and then on the taxi squad. I thought he looked pretty good. I thought, like I said, I understand Jake Fromm was playing against third, fourth, maybe fifth stringers, but I liked his presence in the pocket. He was very accurate. I thought it looked good. I almost wish he would have played last week, but maybe he didn't know the playbook all that well. To me, it was up to me, and it's not. Was there a reason we didn't see Nate Sudfeld at all today? To me, that's disconcerting too. Maybe that's a sign that the Lions know what they have, and he's their backup. If it was up to me, I would make Jake Fromm your backup. Put Hendon Hooker on the taxi squad and say goodbye to Nate Sudfeld. But I'm almost thinking the fact that Nate Sudfeld didn't play today means that he's the backup quarterback. That's not good. No, I thought Jake Fromm looked very good. His pocket presence, I thought, was good. And granted, as I said, he was playing against fourth and fifth stringers probably, but he had a good career at Georgia. He's got good size, 6'2", 215. We'll see. I know a lot of players will be sweating it out between now and Tuesday at 4:00. Tough time of the year. I think Isaac Ukwu made the team. He made another good play today. I think Isaiah Williams has made this team. There was one pass that he did not hook up with Hendon Hooker. Golden Tate thought that was a good pass from Hooker. He just thought Williams may have quit running there at the end. You may have heard him say, Isaiah's got to keep running to catch that ball. But other than that, Sione Vaki didn't play today. That tells me he's made the team. I hate to admit it, folks, but again, the fact that Nate Sudfeld didn't play tells me that he's made the team. Dan Campbell even said earlier in the week that he had a leg up on Hooker. Didn't say anything about Jake Fromm. Look, the Lions have come so far in such little time. We have to trust the discretion of Brad Holmes and his coaching staff that these guys know what they're doing at this point. I certainly hope so. What is my biggest concern as the season starts? Probably 3 backup quarterback, 4th wide receiver, and kicker. Those are my 3 big concerns. Look, there'll be a lot of guys that get cut. There'd be dozens of good players, good quality football players are going to get cut Tuesday. And if Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell see somebody out there that can help them, I'm sure they'll go out there and make an effort to pick them up. I'm going to end today, too, with a look around the NFL. That's a feature we're going to add once football season gets underway in a couple of weeks. If you didn't see the end of the 49ers-Raiders game last night, which ended in a 24-24 tie, I think get it up on YouTube. The final play is something out of the old Keystone Cops routine. I'm not going to describe it for you because it's a barrel of laughs. You look, get it up on YouTube. It's just funniest, one of the funniest things I've ever seen. If I had a dollar for every lateral that was made on that final play, the only thing missing was the Stanford band in the end zone. Okay, if you know what I mean, we weren't going there. What I'm getting at, if any of you folks out there are old enough, remember that the end of the Stanford Cal game, final touchdown was scored as the guy that got the last lateral was running into the end zone and bumping into marching band members. You can get that up on YouTube too, by the way. Tua Tagovailoa, in a recent interview, has said some very interesting things about his ex-coach, Brian Flores, who's now the defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings. In short, Tua said, "How would you like it if your coach kept telling you that you sucked?" That's a quote from Tua Tagovailoa, and he was referring to Brian Flores. Michael Penix Jr. looks like he may have won the starting QB spot for the Falcons. That's the way it looks to me. We got everything in. Yeah, I think so. That's a short stint brief of around the NFL. We'll be doing that more. If there's something that happens in an NFL game that I think you need to know about, we will. Also, something too Andy and I discussed. The Lions are on the cover, as you know by now, of Sports Illustrated. They've been picked to win the whole thing, go to the Super Bowl, win the whole thing. If you go back to 2000, Sports Illustrated has only been right. They've been doing this. They've only been right once since the year 2000. That would have been the 2004 Patriots. Went on to win the Super Bowl that year. So it's hardly anything to get real excited about. But is it the kiss of death? Well, I almost thought it was when Penei Sewell went down the other day in practice. Turns out he's going to be all right. So, are we about done? I think so. I think you can watch a replay of the Lion game if you missed anything. I think you see the replay on Fox 47 at noon tomorrow. By the way, too, I did go to, as Andy and I talked about this morning, I did go to the DetroitLions.com and attempted to, with the sound down on the TV, I attempted to listen to their Manning cast, if you will, uh, on-air celebrities from the flagship commenting throughout the game on what was going on. I tried that for a couple of minutes, but the problem with that was the actual broadcast on TV was a play or two ahead of what they were referring to. Or you could see a play transpiring on before you looking at it on TV, and they're not talking about it till maybe about a minute later. That got very confusing. After just a few minutes, I said, "This isn't going to work," so I turned it off. I was listening to that on the phone. I turned that off, put the sound back on the TV. Uh, so I don't know how that worked out. Maybe they'll talk about it on Monday, but I was not in favor of that. I didn't think it worked out very well, but I doubt if they'll do that again anytime in the near future. Anyway, like I said, next Saturday, time out with Andy Brown and Jed here locally on WCSR 92.1 FM. And I will talk to you all again on Tuesday. Until then, please remember to treat each other with respect. Have a good rest of your weekend, and so long, everybody.